Not all tracks have those. Texas World doesn't have them. MSRH does not have them. So it's good when you see those markers out there that you find visual references on the track that's going to help you determine where you start braking at. It's very important because, you know, you go out on the street, there are no markers out there, so you have to know what your ability will allow for braking distance. So it's very important. Use those markers out there and find a reference in the track that you can use besides those braking references that comes. When you hit your braking point, you want to adjust speed, gearing, body position before initiating the lean. Like we talked about in body position, when you're preparing to hit your turn-in point. You want your body up, you want your body shifted over, you want your foot and knee pointed in the direction of the turn, you're braking and downshifting all at the same time. It's a very busy time when you're on the bike. You want to look towards the clip point. When you see your braking point, you know where that braking point's going to be. You find the turn-in point. Once you know where that turn-in point is, you start looking for the clip point. You always want to be working a couple of steps ahead of yourself. That way, it gives you time to process where you're going to brake at, where you're going to turn at, but you'll want to be focusing on where your clip point's going to be. When you hit your turn-in point, you want to focus on where your exit point is. It's always a couple of steps ahead when you're out there, so you always want to be looking far ahead through a turn and a straightaway whenever you're on the track. There are a couple of blind ones coming out of the horseshoe. You got that uphill. That exit point will always be there. It's not going to move. So remember that you have to trust it. It goes against everything that you're taught when you ride a motorcycle, where you're going. You have to know it's going to be there. Look in the direction that you know where that cone is going to be once you crest that hill. There's a couple of spots with rattlesnake. It's always going to be there. You have to trust it. On the street, it can be different because you may be going down a new road. You may not know what's going to be on there. Slow it down. You got to feel the road before you go out there and try anything crazy. Slower approach will help you get a better drive out of a turn. Like I said earlier, slow in, fast out. Fast into a corner is not going to help you. If you go fast into a corner, you're going to blow your turn-in point, your clip point, possibly your exit point. Worst case scenario, you go off the track. On the street, you go off the street, going into oncoming traffic. So it's very important that you scrub enough speed off so you can hit your points in that corner and get a good drive out of it. That's the key to going fast. You listen to the races, the announcers. Oh, this guy got a great drive coming out of this corner. Really picked up a lot of time on the person in front. It's all about the drive. You don't get a good drive out of it, it's not going to help you. You reduce lap times by getting a good drive out of the corner. You have to watch this. You don't want to get on it too fast. You want to make sure you have enough contact patch on your tire to really get on the throttle. So we have any questions on braking points? Yes?
How much front brake is
Too much front brake is when you end up and fly over the front of it, or you tuck the front end. It's up to you. Go ahead.
Like I said, on the front brake, you want to make sure that everything's nice and fluid and smooth. You know, if you just spike that front brake, that'd be way too much because it's just going to lock that wheel up real quick. Especially if you have any lean angle on it, which you don't want to be doing that. But you know, just in case, you know, you can spike that front tire and it'll reduce the slide. So you want to make sure that you squeeze in that brake just nice and smooth. As you tighten on the brake, it transfers the weight and the load. You know, you feel that pressure coming up on the bars. What that does, it plants the tire even harder, which allows you to apply more brake. Eventually, you see the guys do the stoppies. Sometimes, but you know, the more you transfer the weight, the more you can apply brake to it. So you just want to make sure it's nice and smooth and linear, not spiked.
As long as it's smooth, you can speed it all the way to the clip-on and?
Possibly,
Other than-
I mean, technically, yeah, I mean, and that's when you do that stopping
You
thing.
can keep applying it until you feel, okay, that's too much.
Keep on going to your back roof.
Then stop. Make sure it's a gradual. It's not, okay, weights transfer, grab a handful of brake. It's slowly pressing in on
If
the
you do it
brake.
right, your back wheel will start slowly going up, just slowly, and then you just let off. So
And as you release the brake, it's the same thing. You release it nice and slow, so that weight transfer is nice and smooth.
Well, what kind of feedback do you get from the front end, if any? I mean, you don't just brake, and all of a sudden you've gone 2 over it.
Well, sometimes you feel that front tire lock up. Sometimes you feel the sensation on the back tire coming up. Under real heavy braking, under high speeds, you get a lot of shake
You
in
get a little
it.
shake, yeah, I felt
So,
that actually. So
You get a lot of shake in it. You want to find visual references to consistently find turn-in points. Out here we have a lot of cones out there that help us with our turn-in points. So once we're set up, we have the braking done, we're ready to start the turn-in process. You got your body set up, it's just bringing the head in. And that weights that inside peg, starts to lean, and that's when you start making your turn. Your turn-in point, once you hit that turn-in point, you should be looking for your exit point. At your braking point is when you found your clip point. So remember, always work 2 steps ahead. It's very important that you're concentrating on what's out there and not what's right in front of you. Does anybody have any questions on brake points and turn-in points? So don't go out there looking at peripheral vision for them. Don't go out there, okay, I'm turning in, there's my clip point. Okay, exit point, because you're just going to be all over the place. Plan ahead for it, look for them in advance. You'll hit it. You'll see the curving go by in your peripheral. It takes a lot of practice. It takes
just
a lot
takes
of,
track time.
yeah, it's a lot. You have to trust yourself. So, actually running over the curving is not that big of a deal. We do it all the time. Turning point, most common mistake is fading in towards the clip point. When you get to your turn-in point, you want it to be instant. You want it to be decisive. I'm going to turn in. You don't want to just gradually fade in towards the corner and move over like this. When you get to your clip point, it's a turn. So or when you get to your turning point, it's a turn. So make sure when you get that turning point, you initiate that lean and start the turn. Don't fade into it.
What's the order of them again?
You got your braking point, turning point, clip point, and exit point.
Okay.
Too early or too late of a turn will result in a flawed exit. You want to find out what works best for you. You may be on a different kind of bike, a different level, whatever. Everybody's turning point is going to be different. So according to the weight of the bike, so many variables come into it. So make sure that you work with a turn-in point that helps you hit your clip point and your exit point. If you're missing those points, adjust your turn-in point. Okay? Any questions? You have to have a plan for your exit. We start with the turn-in point. You can see on the transparent dotted line that he started to turn in too early and was raining wide in this corner. If it's a street, then he could have oncoming traffic coming. If he would have delayed his turn-in just a little, hit your clip point, put your exit point out here. So that's how you can adjust your turn-in point, either make it sooner or make it later. You have to adjust your turn-in point so you can hit your clip point and exit point.